Warner's got a visitor seat. I don't see Jack. Here's a real like to take stuff out. Here's a list of done it before. I did last year. Like 3 years ago. Well,
can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Maybe on the bottom.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Barely.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see everybody here today. Thank you for coming to the 2020 Dalton Football Banquet. It's good to see everybody come out. Glad to have a crowd. Appreciate everybody wearing a face mask as they came in and so forth. Obviously, this year has been a challenge. It's been a challenge for everybody. A lot for these young men to overcome, to be able to play football. Very thankful that these guys actually gave us a season. Wasn't necessarily a season that we set out for, but you guys may not realize it as football players, but you gave a lot of parents and people in the stands something to look forward to on Friday nights, which is a Dalton football tradition. And you guys carried it out, and we're very thankful that for your hard work that you've put in all summer long and throughout the season. So thank you very much for that. I'm going to open us up in a prayer, and then we'll get right into the banquet. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day that you've given to us. Lord, just thank you for all the people here, for those that could not attend, for those that have had the COVID illness, and those that have lost loved ones, Lord. We lift all those up to you, Lord. Lord, we thank you for this food. We ask that you bless it and have it provide nourishment to our bodies. And Lord, we thank you for each and every football player we have here today. This event is about them. And Lord, we want to celebrate them in their season and their careers here at Dalton High School. And we just ask that your hand would be upon them as they go through their lives, Lord, and that they may be a influence and a blessing to those that they come in contact with. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. Would like to thank all of our sponsors that support Dalton football year over year. There are many of those sponsors. They're in the football program on our website and so forth. There's so many sponsors to thank that I won't take up your time today to do that. But if you will, please always visit those establishments that support us, whether that's a restaurant or a business and so forth. We owe that back to them for supporting our program. We're very thankful for our sponsors. A lot of people to thank. I'm not going to necessarily thank by name because I don't want to leave anybody out, but would like to thank those that helped set up today to make this happen. The cheerleaders, the spirit squad throughout the year, the Board of Education, our school administration, Ms. Stephanie Hungerpiller and Jeff McKinney are in the back over here. Appreciate y'all helping with all this. The ladies that handle the ticket sales, that is a massive undertaking that goes through every year, goes on every year, and I cannot thank them enough for what they do. Very, very unsung heroes there. That is a lot of work. We have Brandon in the back who does our live stream, is doing today as well. Our PA announcers, the radio announcers that we had, and the live stream announcers that we were able to get out there this year to help us out with the live stream. Appreciate them as well. The D-Tron production team, AOSM as our orthopedic staff, and Hamilton Sports Medicine for providing the trainer. I'd also like to thank my fellow Quarterback Club board members for all that they do during the year and their assistance today as well. One last thing that I'd like to recognize is after doing this role for the last year, I never had an appreciation for what the Quarterback Club president did or does, but I'd like to thank Mitchell Boggs and all prior presidents for their service to the Quarterback Club as well. Now, I want to kill Mitchell Boggs, but that's a different story. No, I love him. And I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize my dear friend, Coach Land, who is obviously no longer with us as a football coach, but I'd like to recognize him for his many years of service to the Dalton football team as a player, as an assistant and as our head coach. I think we owe Coach Land a lot of gratitude for his service. I would also like to thank each and every one of you coaches that are put all your time into coaching our young men. The amount of hours you pour into these guys is very much appreciated. It does not go unnoticed. And we also would like to thank your wives for allowing you to do that. So we appreciate you guys as well. This year we're going to, normally Matt does most of the talking, or the head coach does most of the talking. I'm obviously not as eloquent as Matt Land. Wish I were, but so it'll be a little bit shorter program than normal, which probably won't bother many people. But instead of giving long speeches about individual awards or whatever, I'm going to keep it on the short side, not to overlook anybody or anyone, but I'm just going to try to be quicker about it. The first award for this year is a quarterback club award, and this is a quarterback club member that has gone above and beyond what a normal person would do. This person in particular is like my right hand. Does anything, anytime, anywhere, is the best doer that I know. And that's Jason Stout. And his wife Shanda as well. This award is called the Kelly McCutcheon Award, and it goes out every year, again, as a quarterback club award as opposed to a player award. Jason, if you will, come forward, please. Jason is, I don't know if you guys recognize Jason or not, but he's a behind-the-scenes guy that just, he doesn't like recognition. He's probably going to come up here and body slam me for recognizing him. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you. But I can't thank Jason enough for what he does. And again, there's a woman behind that, and her name is Shanda, and she also helps, and the whole family actually helps. It's really a good team effort, and I'm very appreciative. Now into the player awards. Bryce Joyce was a player, Catamount, was involved in the quarterback club. He was a servant, and you'll notice that all these awards that I'm giving out today, they have a central theme, and that is service and being a servant, whether that's a servant leader or just being a servant, period, a behind-the-scenes servant as Jason. But that's the theme of these awards that I'll be giving out. Bryce Joyce, this award represents more than just his name. It represents hard work, dependability, trustworthiness, serving others, and love for team. All the qualities that were represented by Bryce Joyce. This year's winner has all those qualities. He showed up every day wanting to make himself better and his team better. Throughout his time here, he did whatever was asked of him. And this year's Bryce Joyce Award goes to Ty Thurman.
We'll keep it formal. We'll keep it formal.
The next award is known as the Carter McCamey Scholarship. Carter's family is kind enough to sponsor this award every year in his honor, and it comes with a, as I said, it was a scholarship, so it's an award/scholarship, but it's funded by the family each year, and it's a $1,000 scholarship for the player to use. And so I didn't know any better way to say what had been said about this award in prior years, so I'm going to say the same thing that was said in prior years. Carter, in his own words, used these words to describe what he wanted this award to be about before he passed away. First, he said, "I just want my life to glorify Christ. I want everything I do to be a testimony of God's power and faithfulness. Sometimes I don't even pray for the doctors. God's in control of them. I pray for the people that my life is in contact with. I pray that they come to know Christ by seeing him in me, whether it be friends, family, doctors, or nurses, whoever. Secondly," he said, "I have a great feeling about this, being his cancer treatments." He said, "But regardless of the result, Christ must be glorified. That's my main concern." This year's Carter McCamey Scholarship winner is an individual who, like Carter, has left an indelible impression on many people, especially his teammates and coaches, as well as many others. This year's Carter McCamey Scholarship winner is Dominique Simpson. Dominique.
Congratulations.
Our next award, which is the second year for this award, is named after George Farmer. Many of you who were blessed to know George knew he had quite a spirit about him. And this is also, as I said, a scholarship, and it's funded by Sam Fromm, his daughter, and Dr. Fromm, Sam's husband. We call this the George Farmer Underdog Scholarship. Most awards recognize some sort of accomplishment, such as greatness or a great feat by an athlete or an individual, but this award is not necessarily for that. Coach Farmer had an eye for the underdog. He really appreciated the underdog. He kept an eye on people on the sidelines, how they acted when they weren't playing, and he also looked kind of like for what I call the little guy. So that's what this award is about, somebody who's scrappy, has a lot of things to overcome. And this year's recipient of the George Farmer Underdog Scholarship is Josue Lopez. And the last award that I'll be given today is, I call it the Servants Award, and it is the Teresa Bennett Servant Leader Award. And for those of you that were blessed to have known Teresa in her lifetime, it's a great honor to be considered for this award. She exemplified what a servant is. And Teresa, almost all the time, was a behind the scenes servant. Didn't care about recognition at all, but just wanted to serve. This is our third year to present the Teresa Bennett Servant Leader Award. And I'll read the words that Matt Land gave me. He said, "It's an award that memorializes an irreplaceable wife, mother, sister, daughter, friend, teacher, and servant leader. Teresa was the wife of Coach Jim Bennett, to my left, and the mother of former Catamounts, Coach Cole Bennett, and his brother Ethan Bennett. It's an award that serves as not only a recognition of the hard and selfless work Teresa performed daily, but more importantly, it reminds us of the very nature of Teresa. This year's recipient is Joey Wills." And with that, I'm going to ask Principal Hungerpiller if she'll come and present the academic awards.
Good afternoon. It's great to be here today to celebrate the accomplishments of these great young men and these coaches, and so I'm honored to be here to recognize these students for the academic awards. They have shown not only excellence on the football field, but also excellence in the classroom, which is a lot to be said considering how much time it takes when you play high school sports. So I'd like to recognize these young men at this time. As I call your name, please come forward. Fuller Vineyard. Parker Adams. AJ Hernandez. Tyson Neal. Congratulations. Caleb Hernandez. Josue Lopez. Congratulations. Wesley Yarbrough. Congratulations. Eber Calzada. Congratulations. And the highest GPA award goes to David Garcia.
He come back. He come back.
I guess it's my turn again. A piece of cake was put in front of me and I lost my mind.
I know that's right.
It's a good thing it wasn't barbecue. I'd like to introduce our coaching staff. If you guys don't mind, if you'll stand up as I read your name. Coach Jim Bennett. Coach Kit Carpenter couldn't be with us today. He's quarantining. We'll hear from him in a few minutes. On the big screen up top, Coach Scott Thompson, Coach Jamie Penny, Ricky Hammondtree could not be with us today. Coach Adam Martinez, Coach Cole Bennett, Coach Bill Mayo, Coach Eric Long, Coach John Patrick, Coach James Johnson. You can stand up taller than that now. Coach Jason Poteet, Coach Santiago Nava, Coach Blackwood, Bo Blackwood, who could not be with us today, Coach Gabe Majorkirth, which I don't think he's able to be with us today, Coach Joey Wills, Coach Luke Tolbert, and Coach Hunter Floyd, who is not with us as well. So that's the introduction of the coaching staff. Coach Patrick will come up and do an introduction.
Hold on, one thing in between before you sit down. So before Joel goes and eats the rest of his cake, the team's got an award for him in recognition of being the quarterback club president. And you guys that don't see behind the scenes, you don't know what a big task that is. I think it's a lot easier being a parent watching your son play than it is being the quarterback club, right?
It is.
You know, after the games, he's there with the boxes of chicken for the guys, and you guys like the chicken, right? Yeah. Countless other things that he does, coordinating the buses, making sure that they show up on time, hoping they don't break down on the way to the game, getting water, drinks for us, just really anything that the team needs. The quarterback club's there, and Joel coordinates all that, and he ends up doing a lot of the work himself. So I think, everybody give him a big round of applause, and we've got a plaque for him. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, ladies.
thank you very much. I appreciate it. As the Teresa Bennett Award is, I don't do it for recognition. I do it because I love you guys. I love Dalton football. I grew up. The McIntosh family took me to nearly every football game as a child. Wasn't able to suit it up in the red and white. That was my dream to have done so. You guys really need to understand that putting on the red and white, it means a lot. It really does. And you'll look back 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now, and you won't believe how much it means to be a Catamount. But it's something to be respected and honored and treasured. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Good afternoon. My name is Coach Patrick. I'd like to talk about the freshman football team, freshman football season. First of all, hats off, thanks to Coach James Johnson, also to Bo Blackwood and Gabe Majorkirk for all their help this season with all things freshmen. The record of the freshman football team was a little deceiving this year. While they did play just about every JV game, we had 3 freshman games because of everything COVID. It was kind of limited. The opponents that we could play. Started the season with a loss to McCallie. At McCallie, it's always tough to win up there. Lost 31-0. We ended up beating Cleveland 14-12 and ended up losing to LFO 14-7 as a last-minute game. So it was a tough season for these guys as well, but all the way through summer workouts and through the season, their attendance was great. They worked hard in the weight room. Coach Thompson praised these guys through the middle of the summer just for their work ethic and everything that they've put into place in the weight room. Also, hats off to the middle school coaching staff, Coach Poteet, Coach Nava, and Coach Tolber for everything they did to get these guys ready for freshman football. So we're real proud of those guys. All right, guys, if you come up, we got a plaque for you. I'm going to call your name and by position also, okay? So here's your freshman football team. Jaden Anderson. Jaden was a running back and a linebacker. Andy Atangana was a receiver and defensive back. Yeah, stay down here. Jackson Bautista was a tight end and a linebacker for us. Bryce Chavaria was a receiver and a linebacker. Chandler Cowart, offensive and defensive line, with a little bit of linebacker for us. Christian Didios was a receiver and defensive back. Jabari Dixon, offensive defensive line. Eric Garcia, offensive defensive line. Everett Hayes, I promise these guys are in the room. We'll get to some that are here in a minute. Was the offensive defensive line. Adriel Hernandez was a running back defensive back. Ledge Land was a quarterback and defensive back for us. Austin Martinez was a receiver, defensive back. Felipe Miranda, receiver, defensive back. Michael Wynn, offensive, defensive line. Alex Overby, receiver, running back, defensive back. Bannon Phelan, offensive, defensive line. Alex Pimentel was receiver and outside linebacker. Manny Quintero, offensive, defensive line. Jacory Robinson, receiver, defensive back. Jamil Rosas, offensive, defensive line. Yahir Sosa, receiver and linebacker. Riley, I'm not going to let you come up with this group, okay? I'm going to let Coach Mayo talk about you, okay? But Riley South was offensive, defensive line. Bo Stout, offensive line, defensive line, and linebacker. R.J. Story was receiver, defensive back. Landon Talley, offensive, defensive line. Elijah Tanner, receiver, defensive back. Brandon Tentia was offensive, defensive line. Adrian Villa, tight end, defensive line. And Striker Woods H-back, tight end, running back, occasionally a quarterback, and a linebacker for us. Yeah, it got ugly for those times, but that's okay. And that's your freshman football team, guys. Let's give them a hand. Thank you.
I have the honor of recognizing some very valuable people to the team that maybe a lot of these guys in here may not even know they know of their work, but they may not know them specifically. And that is the video crew that helps student-wise, and that is Talia Moore. She is here. Unfortunately, their awards did not come in, and so we'll be getting those. So please stand, Talia. Talia. Chelsea Soto Suarez. And unable to attend is Katia Zubia. She is watching online. But these girls put in extra effort when we were standing out in the rain. They were running the cameras in the rain. When they were up on top of the press box, that Brandon Brown helped us get a little covering when we were under the rain and things. But they were troopers and really did excellent work. They didn't complain. They did whatever they needed to do. Not only at games, but they came to every practice and videoed so that we would have all the film that could help these guys do the best that they possibly could. And just very thankful for the work that they did. They were really, really hard workers. Also, I'd like to just say thank you to Luke Tolbert and Hunter Floyd for their assistance when we got to the ball games and helping set up and doing the things that we needed to do to get ready for the games. I'd now like to recognize the ball boys and water boys. We have some that are not here for various reasons, but I'm going to recognize them all. We had Briggs Bennett, Brax Bennett, Clayton Thompson. I believe Clayton's here. Come on up. Congratulations. Jack Martinez, Cross Land, Knox Carpenter, Jaden Poteet, and Ethan Long. And if you think you can have a football game and not have some ball boys and doing all the kind of things that these guys helped out with, you're wrong. They had more fun, but the things that they did are very essential. And we are very thankful that our Catamount program allows us to have our families involved and to accept those, embrace them, and let them help us out how they can. Thank you.
Good afternoon. We're going to do things a little bit different this year than we have in the past. We're going to talk about the offense first. Then each individual coach is going to talk about their individual group, so it's going to go a little bit different than we have in the past. I hope you bear with us. I'd like to talk to you about the last year's season, or this season, as we go forward. When I think about the 2020 offensive season, it was one of ups and downs, and we can all agree with that. The scoreboard only tells one side of the story. With the challenges of 2020, I would say to you, success is not measured in just wins and losses. While the record was not the one we wanted or prepared for, it does not define who you are as a player, who you are as a team, as a coach, and definitely as a school. We fought hard to have a football season in general. It was not the record you wanted, but your hard work and your perseverance in an unpredictable time was remarkable, and you are to be commended for that. You came to practice every day. You followed protocol, not knowing what teammate may or may not be there at the time, or even what coach was going to be present. It was the next man up mentality, and for that, I congratulate you. There were times you could have given up. You could have even quit. And I'll be honest with you, at times I thought you were. but you didn't. You fought hard, and you were just a few plays away, a handful of plays from being 7-2. We will get that fixed going into the 2021 season. I can promise you that. With that, I'm going to be introducing the wide receivers. Coach Long, if you will assist me. When I call your name, please come forward. I'm going to say a little blurb about you. Some good, maybe some not so good. No, I'll be nice, I promise. Those of you, my guys that know me know I'm joking, I think. Number 5, Kareem Page. Kareem is, stand up there real tall right there so we can talk about you. Kareem's a hard worker. What a lot of people don't know about Kareem is the work he puts in when nobody else is looking. There was times I'd come in the summer, I was like, who in the world's in the turf room? It was Kareem. He's working on footwork. He's working on catching balls. Coach, let me try this. Coach, I can get off the line with this. That's Kareem in a nutshell. Our guys followed his leadership. Kareem is a dynamic player. He's going to have an opportunity. Everything goes right his way, he's going to have an opportunity to play at the next level next year. Gain some weight, get a little bit faster, be consistent. He's going to have that opportunity. We look for big things for Kareem. Stay right there. Number 7, Journey Boston. He's a multi-purpose player. You saw Journey this year. The key to Journey, he can change gears on you. He can be a receiver. We saw him in the backfield. We saw him at the slot. Journey, once Journey does what Journey does, he's very, very dangerous, and we're so excited in what Journey can do, get his classroom stuff worked out, and he's going to be fine. Number 10, Warner Ross. I want y'all to say, clap your hands. Warner texted me. He's watching via internet. Warner, we love you. There's probably no one I'll probably ride harder than Warner Ross. He is the hardest worker there is. He can take it. He can take a dose of me. He's very, very powerful. He does it all. He returns punts, blocks, H-back, slot, quarterback, and more importantly, when you think of Warner Ross, you think tough. He is a tough kid, and Warner does not want to come off the football field. I tried it once. It doesn't work. He'll get it done. I think if I'd have put him at center this year, he would have done it. Warner Ross. Number 19, the need for speed, Luke Blanchard. When you think about speed, this is the kid you think about. He's strong, great football knowledge, doesn't talk a whole lot. He just says, yes, sir, or yeah. Luke, you know what to do? You know what route you got? Yeah. And I trust him. Luke knows. Luke knows what he does, but he works hard. It was Thursday. I came out and watched Luke run outside. It was he ran a 4.5 in 30-degree weather. I watched it with my own eyes, laser, no hand. Luke's a special kid. We're so thankful to have him. Luke's strong, keeps working hard, and is a go-getter. Number 21, Joseph Fernandez. Joseph has tremendous speed and quickness out of the break, and as he continues to improve, you saw Joseph a lot in the JV games. How many touchdowns do you have, Joseph, this year? 3 touchdowns. Joseph's going to be good. He came to us late. You got to keep working on the mechanics and getting better at that. Number 22, I don't see Jair Torres with us. Jair was hit and miss a little bit just due to 2020, and he was a good receiver for us as well. Number 83, David Quinones. This is David's first year playing. David had a great attitude, came out and worked hard every day to learn the game and to learn the position, and more importantly, probably to learn me and how fast I talk and what I was talking about. When I first met David, I didn't know what was going to happen, but David got to where he was catching balls, and David was working hard, and we were cheering. Everybody was cheering on David when David got out there, and we really appreciate you, David. You're going to get better. Keep on improving. Number 87, Jair Garcia. JJ has one of the best hands in the group here. He had to miss a couple times during the all season. Had he not missed, he would have been in the mix with our group here, and really works hard and has a lot of football knowledge, can throw the ball, catch the ball, has good feet, and more importantly, he knows what to do. Now to our seniors, number 81, Wesley Yarborough. This is Wesley's first year playing varsity ball. He played in the middle school, came out and worked in the off season with us, learned the position, learned the routes, worked harder every day. Wesley had a fan group. We were out there and they were yelling at me I never do people even knew my name. They were yelling at me, put Wesley in, put Wesley in. Wesley got in, and it was a big cheer for him, and he's done really well for us. And Wesley, we appreciate what you've done for Dalton football, and we're going to miss you. Number 80, Fisher McElrath. A lot of people say Fisher's my son, but he's not fast enough for me. That's why I tell Fisher. No, Fisher is a tremendous waiting on go. When I think about Fisher McElrath, I think about a true teammate. If we were missing someone on special teams for not paying attention, or if we were needing a receiver or a different formation we went in, I didn't have to look far. Fisher was standing right there, right next to me, waiting to go in, and sometimes he put himself in. And he did a great job for us. When we were everything for Fisher's done for us as a group in his senior year, his attitude, great work ethic, it helped out a lot. So we're going to miss you so much, Fisher. I wish you the best in the future. Guys, more importantly, we love you, and we appreciate all you've done. This is your 2020 receiver crew.
My name is Coach Long, quarterback coach here. And luckily being the quarterback coach is you don't have that many kids to get to know, and you can really build a relationship with those guys. And I'm going to go youngest to oldest for mine. The first kid, Parker McClure. Come on up here, Parker. Stay up here. All right, Parker to me is the kid that you want to coach. He's probably a little bit overly critical of himself in practice and in games, but he cares. He cares about the football program. He cares about being a Catamount, and he works his butt off for us, and I really appreciate that. He works on his own. Everything I tell him to do, he tries it at home, and he works, and he's probably got better than any other person I've coached in a year from the beginning to the end. So I really appreciate that. Improves every day. Excited to have you back this next year. Parker McClure. My next and last one is Ashton Blackwell. So, Ashton is, and it happens when you're a quarterback and the starting quarterback, you're the pulse of the team, pulse of the offense. And it's not easy to be, because, he can't afford to have a bad day at practice or be a little bit down at practice because it brings the whole offense down. And he did a really good job this year and grew a lot throughout the year as a leader, grew as a player throughout the year. Did a really good job for us day in, day out, toughed it out. Had some nagging injuries with his legs, his feet, some turf toe stuff, which is hard. It doesn't sound like it hurts, but it does. And he did a really good job for us. Really excited to have him back and help us build this offense up to where it needs to be. Ashton Blackwell. Thanks, guys.
All right, I'm Coach Marlowe. I had the honor to coach running backs this year. I don't see any of them out there today. Great group to work with. Some of the guys, like Coach Martinez said earlier, Journey was a guy that came into our group, rotated in. Jackson Blackwood also was with us, but he moved to H-back before the end of the year. Our other guys were Tyson Greenwade, Cash Lindsay, and Maurice Howard, our only senior. But like I said, I did not see those guys come in. But they worked really hard, really fun group to coach, and really proud of those guys. So.
All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about offensive line, and Cole Bennett and I coach the line together, and so we're going to divide up the guys. I'm going to talk about the centers and guards, and Cole's going to take the tackles and tight ends. Just a little word about our group this year. It's probably the most unique season I've ever had, and I've been coaching for a long time with an offensive line group. We had zero experience coming in the year. Every starter and guy that played in the rotation in 2019 graduated. We had 7 or 8 guys that played, and they all graduated and went on. So we were coming into this season. We knew this as we were going through 2019, and we were counting on spring practice and winter workouts and summer workouts and all the things that we needed to do to really develop this group. And unfortunately, as we all know, all that stuff got wiped out. We didn't get to do hardly any of it. I think we went back to work sometime in June. So we were really starting at ground zero with these guys. And to their credit, they worked really hard. And on top of it, we played – I've been saying I think the region we were in previously with Harrison and Sequoia and those guys, those teams were better teams. This region had much better athletes. I think we counted up 7 or 8 D1 defensive ends, and I'm talking Power 5 guys, SEC, ACC, defensive ends and linebackers that we played against. And being an offensive line that 2 years ago we were 300 pounds plus with about 5 of those guys or 4 of those guys. This year I think our biggest kid was Charlie at 270. So we were at a real physical disadvantage height and weight-wise, but they fought all year long. And continued to progress as we went through the season. So Cole and I are very proud of their effort and how hard they played and didn't give up. Unfortunately, we were able to play a lot of guys. We had 3 seniors that played until Ricky got COVID. But we had 3 seniors that played quite a bit, but we also had a group of underclassmen that played a lot. So going into 2020, we got a group of kids, or 2021, we've got a group of kids coming back that will be ready to play. So first thing I'm going to do is just recognize the guys that aren't here. Isaac Medina played center and tackle for us this year. He's not able to be here today. Edgar O'Connor is a sophomore, young guy that we're counting on, hopefully to get himself into the rotation next year. Kevin Pacheco, same way. We'd like to get him into the rotation next year. Unfortunately, Ty Thurman, one of our seniors who probably would have been in the rotation in 2019 if he hadn't gotten injured. He had a wrist injury that kept him out most of the year. Ty's not here, but he did a good job for us. He's probably the best run and hit guy we had. Just being able to pull, and we did a lot of pulling with our as we developed through our offense this year. Being able just to run and hit somebody, he was very good at that. Jacob Meza is another sophomore that couldn't be here. Rodrigo Pena started out the year with us. I think his family had some COVID issues and some other things going on, and so he didn't finish the year with us, but he's planning on coming back next year as a senior. And then Cody Guzman, and Cody's a young man that was with us, and his family moved to Southeast, but we want to recognize him because Cody had the best attitude of anybody on our team. Just was all happy to be there, worked hard, maybe wasn't the ideal. When you looked at him, you didn't think he's a super athlete, but man, the kid always worked. So now I'm going to talk about the guys that are here. Start with the young ones first. Riley Souther, who's a freshman. Riley played quite a bit for us this year at center, and I believe he's the first freshman since Watts Dantzler that played in varsity games on offensive line. That's a big accomplishment to be a young guy and get thrown into the battle with the older kids. So we're looking for Riley to really work hard this winter and be ready to be a full-time player. Giovanni Montalongo. Gio, are you here? Gio played guard for us in the JV games. Started every JV game, did a really good job. He's another guy we're looking to develop and get into the rotation. Jackson Franks. Where are you, Jackson? Jackson's another one of our JV guys that, looking forward to him working hard this winter and seeing what he can do next year. And then the last one in the group that I'm talking about is Grant Halverson. And Grant's a great story. If you want to see somebody that worked himself into a starting position, it's Grant. When he was a sophomore, he's obviously had the benefit of growing some, but he really got in the weight room and worked very hard. He played JV for us as a sophomore and was just one of the guys in the rotation. And as we came into this year, it was obvious that Grant had been working very hard, and he developed and worked hard in practice and ended up becoming a starter and was one of our top guards this year at the end of the year. So that's the centers and guards, and Cole's going to talk about the tackles and tight ends.
All All right, Charlie Patrick. Charlie Patrick is an outstanding young man with an unreal work ethic and was our starting right tackle. He trained incredibly hard this summer on his own for the opportunity to start at right tackle. His form and ability improved throughout the year, and with a number of games against some of the best ends in the state now under his belt, we expect, and I know he expects, great things for next year. Nick Cowart, he is not here. He played left tackle and left guard for us. We look forward to having him back next year. And then Damian Vital, he played, started out at tight end and ended up moving to left tackle. Very athletic kid, but he's not here today. We look forward to him playing again next year with us. Angel Carrillo. Angel initially played defense and got traded to us to move to offensive tackle. He has good size and strength, and his footwork improves every day. He had good performances this year in sub-varsity competitions, and we look forward to his hard work this offseason and working him into the rotation as soon as possible next year. Veer Patel. Veer played offensive tackle for us, and even though he often didn't tie one of his cleats every day at practice, he got better every day. All joking aside, Veer has a great attitude, and he improved tremendously this season. As he continues to work in the weight room, I know his progress on the field will continue to improve as well. I look forward to watching and coaching him next year. John Frank Patterson. Jay Frank Vickus, he played tight end and unfortunately had to battle a bunch of injuries off the field and during this season. He has all the intangibles that you can want. He has good size and hands and speed that improve throughout the year. I know he's prepared to work hard this offseason, and I know his parents have plenty of steaks lined up for him to eat as well. I'm very excited about getting him on the field this season and on a consistent basis and utilizing his unique skill set on Friday nights. Anderson Jackson. Anderson was our tight end and H-back this season. He provided us a physical presence on the end of the line as well as the ability to run some of our buck sweep and power plays. He stayed the course and continued to work all season, even if he wasn't getting as many reps as he wanted. Going into next season, I'm very excited to have another tight end to coach and look forward to seeing him get after defensive ends in our region next year. Jackson Blackwood. Jackson battled some nagging injuries this past season, but saw time on special teams and an H-back towards the end of the year. I actually named the H-back position Herbert for him when he got in, which he enjoyed that naming, and he seemed to get ownership from it. Jackson has continued to work hard in the weight room and focus this offseason, which I know he will do, and I feel excited and confident about his ability to be our H-back next year. To our two or three seniors, Ricky Sandoval. Ricky played guard for us this season. Ricky lacked size for the region we were playing in, but don't tell him that. He attacked defenders without any care for himself or fear about who he was facing. He would throw his body into defenders, and it was something fun to watch. Ricky always took coaching and was eager to do it correctly. He was our best cutter on the team, and he made a lot of plays work because of that ability. We actually had to call him off cutting some people. We're going to get flagged. I'll miss his good sense of humor and his ability to always keep the group laughing. Thank you, Ricky, for your humor and your reckless effort this season. And Hayden Sumner. Hayden played center for us this season, and this was after having to rotate around and at one point being in a situation where his playing time could possibly be extremely limited. But this didn't bother Hayden. He waited for his chance and took it when it came. He worked to be consistent in his play, and it showed. Hayden gave us everything he had. In a region where we were outmatched physically in every game, he never backed down and took it to whoever he was facing. For your effort and dedication this season.
All right, if you'll turn around, Coach Carpenter has a message for the defensive side of the ball.
Good afternoon. Let me first begin by apologizing to you for not being with you today. Unfortunately, we're at home in COVID quarantine. This is probably the most excitement that we've had since we've been at home, getting everybody ready to film this. As we look back at this season, I think we can all agree that it was an interesting season, one that would certainly be full of disappointment if we just simply looked at our record. We knew we had to replace some guys coming in that were good players for us last year. We felt like we could do it, but we knew that we had to get them ready to play. Unfortunately, the first game of the year, those guys realized how much they needed to do to get ready to play. And I will say from that point on, the guys worked hard at it. They continued to work in the face of adversity. We didn't have anybody over 230 pounds that played for us. But that didn't stop them from working hard, playing with tremendous heart. Even when times were tough, they never quit. I couldn't be more proud of a group of guys than I am of these kids that played for us this year. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Coach Thompson. And he's going to start with introducing our defensive players. Coach Thompson. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Coach Thompson. He's going to start with introducing our defensive players. Coach Thompson.
I like that. That's awesome.
Welcome 2020. Coach has got it. Okay, I'm going to start with the outside backers. We had a unique group of outside backers. I moved from outside backers to freezing corners, and Coach Carpenter took over. He couldn't be here. He didn't think we'd be able to time it right. I told him we could, but he decided it'd be best for me to go over, talk about our outside backers. First young man is Max Ross. Come on up, Max. There is never a dull moment with Max. Okay, I have to ask Parker sometimes to tell me what he's talking about and different things he's doing, but he worked his tail off. We moved to a different defense this year. We went to a three-man front, still had our two outside backers, and we adjusted some things. He was able to pick up on that very fast, did well in the JV games, and next year through the weight room, he should have a chance to play. Just stay up here for everybody else, okay? And I'm sorry, but I always mess this young man's name up, Jair Jacobo. Come on up. Hyro. I've called him Hyro, Gyro, Oho, everything. Okay. This young man has the best work ethic of anybody you're going to find. He also is kickboxing. He'll run from our practice to his other practice. He won't get in the car with you. I've tried, and he runs. His work ethic is unbelievable. He is going to. When we move from defense we've moved from previous years, he had to learn how we were working about the different assignments. He caught on to that, and he's going to get a good chance in the weight room to prove his worth. Next is Austin Davis. Yes, we called him Stick Man, but if you've noticed, guys, in the weight room, he's not Stick Man anymore. He's been working hard, putting on a lot of weight. It's hard for the quarterbacks to throw the ball around him, over him. He had a lot of tips this year. If you think about one of the best outside backers that we've had in Caleb Hernandez, he looks a lot like Caleb Hernandez, just a little bit taller. If he fills out, he's going to be a force to reckon with next year. Next is Bryson Benton. Come on up, Bryson. Y'all scoot on down a little bit, guys. Bryson had to run him out of the weight room anytime, and every time I open it up, he's always in there working out, him and his brother. He started for us this year, did a phenomenal job at our well backer. He will be back next year, be a leader for us. He was one of our top 10 voted on in the weight room because of his work ethic. Very proud of Bryson. Next is Blake Hammondtree. Says a lot about Blake Hemmentry. He started off at free safety this year, and when some things happened to being sick and COVID, he came to me and said, Coach, I just want an opportunity. You think, can I move to outside backer to help the team? He wanted to do what he needed to do in every way to help. Moved into outside backer. He was learning everything. He got voted in the top 10 also for next year in the weight room. Phenomenal young man that is going to be an asset for the team next year. Yes. Next, Parker Eichholz, please. Parker started off the year, great attitude. He came in working hard. He was in the rotation, possibly pushing for a starting position, and had a back injury that put him out for most of the year. He had surgery. He's just now on bands, doing certain things to strengthen his overall body and his core. Hopefully next year, if the good Lord's willing, he'll be able to play for us and have a starting position. Down to my two seniors, Coach. Next, Dominique Simpson, please. Dominique started at inside backer. You can step right over here, big man. He started inside backer, and through some things that we needed, we moved him to the outside backer position. He's a leader in every way in his work ethic. Not many people do this, but as seniors, we let them stay down. If they're not in the starting rotation, we keep them down with us. They don't have to go through scout team. But this young man right here was a running back. He did everything he wanted to help the team. Scout team, he ran the ball to give us great effort. Great team leader. And last, Caleb Hernandez. Dayton. Not last, excuse me. Caleb Hernandez started for us for 3 years. Got a picture of him when he first started, as a freshman. He looked like Stickman, but a smaller version of Stickman. Worked his tail off, one of the leaders in the weight room, one of the leaders on the field. Offenses had to make sure they were scheming away from him because of the effort that he was giving at Sam. He played Will, he played Sam, he played free safety as a sophomore, a phenomenal young man. And last but not least, Tayton Benton. Tayton is the same way as Dominique. He came in, he got a lot of playing time. Love you, buddy. He got a lot of playing time at various positions. He started off at corner. Earlier in his career, he played from corner. He went to outside backer, played on all special teams like Dominique did, gave great effort on scout team and did everything he could to help the team. And I believe the outside backers, I didn't miss anybody. This is our outside backer crew. Next, I'd like to talk about our free safeties. This year we did something very unique because of going to a three-man front. We were able to, I went away from the outside backers, with the corners, and I was working with the frees and the outside backers because of the stemming we had to do, so that the outside backers and the free safeties spent a lot of time together. First of all, I would like to talk about Israel Sora, please. Israel's a great hitter. He missed a lot of time during COVID helping out his family at work. He had to do some things to help them. He missed some days, but when he was there, he gave the best effort he could. Very proud of him. He's going to have a chance. We're losing a free safety. We've got a job available for him. If him and the rest of them, we'll see who steps up. Next, Ethan Evans. Ethan moved in with us, I guess, right in August. Learned a lot of football, a little bit different than what he was used to, especially the way Coach Carpenter schemes things and the way he adjusts with the free safety. The free safeties have to be very knowledgeable in what they're doing. Ethan was able to pick it up and was scheming people where they needed to be, moving them around. throughout the later part of the year. Ethan is going to have a chance to step in and fill in just like Israel at as a free safety. He's got great length, great speed, and look forward to great things with him. Next is Brady Penley. This is Brady's second year playing for us. He's going to have to drive the ship and think like Coach Carpenter, which is a very scary thing. When we had last year, when we had to move Parker to quarterback a couple of years ago, he had to take over and drive the ship and adjust people and move people around. Our free safety is our quarterback of our secondary. He did a phenomenal job. He came in this year, and we moved him up in space. He played a lot of man coverage down low in our as a free safety when we moved him up and kept Parker back. Looking forward to him to be a leader of this defense in every way. And last but not least, the heart of our secondary, Parker Adams. It's hard to talk about Parker. Parker got thrown in as a sophomore. I looked at a picture. I sent his dad a picture of him when he was a sophomore and he had to start. I think it was about 125 pounds soaking wet. He had to learn from our other safety to try to put him where he needed to be. Through those 3 years, these 3 years we've had him, he's been a phenomenal leader on and off the field. Always at workouts, always trying to communicate and get everybody in the right position. And the scary part is he thought like Coach Carpenter. And Coach Carpenter is a Rain Man in every sense. He thought like him. They could go over there and talk about certain things about, what can we do? What would we do if this happened? What would they do if this happened? Well, we would try it, and half the time it'd work, and they were on their same level. And I'm a little bit lower smart-wise, so I couldn't get in the conversation with them. So I had to pull them aside afterwards. I'm one of those guys that got to see it, hear it, do it, and they could talk and communicate and visualize it, and it was phenomenal to see those two work. But he was a leader of our secondary for the last 2 years, playing for us for 3 years, and really going to miss him. And this is our free safety crew. Now to our corners. I want to talk about, first of all, with this, when we moved and some things happened early in the year, we had this crew right here had to adjust to a new coach. I worked with them. Coach Jordan McKinney came and worked with them. And then we kind of set in with Coach Major came, and he was able to be with Coach McKinney for a little while, and Jordan to see what he was doing man coverage. And Coach Major really worked with them and got them to play really well. As I was with them at times when we played man coverage, Coach Major was with them a pretty good bit more. And he did a phenomenal job. The first young man we're going to talk about is not Joseph, Josh Fernandez, please. Come on up. This young man, when he gets confidence in himself, he's going to be a very, very outstanding young man. You could tell that he knew when he made a mistake, he'd put his hands on his head, and he knew it. But he's got to, as a DB, you got to have short-term memory loss. You got to move on and go to the next play, and you can't let the play before it affect you. He has an opportunity to step in and play next year if he works hard, and we're expecting him to do that. Assad Tanner, they are in the transition of moving right now. They're still in our district, but they're moving. He stepped in as a sophomore and played for us. Would have got a lot more playing time if it wasn't seniors in front of him. But he's going to be a great asset to our team. Bentley Myers is not here. It's his grandmother's 90th birthday, and they're watching, so I'm going to talk about him. Bentley had a chance to step in and play early. Things didn't go the way he thought it was going to, and he readjusted. He went to the scout team, and he really worked his tail off. Through that, we rewarded him and put him on special teams later in the year. He's going to be a senior, and there's a spot open as a corner that I fully believe he should be able to take that position or at least compete for it. In our last two, I'm going to talk about A.J. Hernandez first. As a senior, he's not able to come because his brother has COVID, but he's watching on TV right now. A.J., a phenomenal young man. When he gets out there, he's goofy as he can be, but when it comes time to play, he plays. He's a hard worker. He's dedicated, and he got that way through his dedication in the weight room and wanting the best for his team. I love him dearly. I wish he was here. And A.J., I miss you. And last is Fuller Vineyard. Step right here. Okay. When I first got here 20 years ago, you really didn't have a chance to start until you were a junior or senior. Nowadays, we got people coming in and stepping in as sometimes freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. This young man came in, and he was about this big, okay? He worked his tail off. And honestly, he surprised me as we got back into the routine of working out and back doing some football things during June. He worked his tail off for 3 or 4 years, freshmen. Sophomores are listening. He just waited and worked, and whoever he went against through his freshman, sophomore, and junior year, he tried to work on his craft and get better. Through that, this young man stepped up and started every game and was probably the best corner we had, technical-wise, because of his hard work and his dedication. I want everybody to understand, it didn't be that way. You didn't start till you were a senior, and people waited to turn because of the privilege to wear that D. That's what this young man did here. I'm very proud of him, and this is our corners. Yeah, I think I'm done. Did I miss anybody? Okay, that's greatest fear as a coach, missing anybody. Okay.
All right, I'll be talking about the inside linebackers. After spending the past 3 years with the defensive ends, I got the opportunity to coach these guys this year. I'm going to do the same thing as everybody else does, start out with our sophomores. First up, Rockwez Washington. I don't think he made it in today. And our other sophomore is Daniel Ramos. I hate that Daniel lost his offseason this year due to COVID, because when he did come back, he made a name for himself. We even had some of the offensive coaches kind of asking who he was. He looked good. The speed of JV and varsity kind of caught up to him, but he adjusted to that. He ended up starting for us every game in JV at inside linebacker, and he's a hard worker. Every day when I go to the weight room, he's either in the weight room or the turf room or the turf field after school every single day. I'm excited to see what he does. That's our only sophomore. You can go ahead, sit down. We'll do it by grade. All right, our juniors. First up is Brandon Arredondo. Did he make it? Did you get you some pants? All right, Brandon, or as everybody here sitting knows him as Chewy, Bulldog, BD, whatever comes out of our mouth, that's usually what his name is. His name, it goes along with what he does. He's a utility man for us on defense. He's played defensive line, defensive end, outside linebacker, inside linebacker. We got to teach him some coverages now, and he can cover it all. His value on our defense is outstanding. He can play anywhere. He's a madman on the field, and my God, you're going to know it if he hits you, because he's coming full speed. He's beyond coachable, does whatever we ask him to do. Next up, our other junior is Brock Johnson. Brock understands his role on defense. It was his time to start this year. We went to a different defense. Times we were playing one linebacker, two, maybe three. Brock understood where he needed to be and when he needed to be in there. I've never seen a kid put their body through more hell than this kid has in 2 years. And he's probably going to feel like a lot of us sitting up here do in about 15 years, but it'll be worth it right now. And despite his size, he doesn't let that stop him. He's coming full speed just like Brandon. He's lining up like Coach Mayo said about the defensive line, we played some horses on the offensive line too. And despite anything else, Brock gave us 100% effort every single play. All right, and that is our junior inside linebackers. All right, and our seniors, we have two of them also. First up, Josue Lopez. Josue, not just on defense, but he understood his role on the team as a whole. One of the greatest guys you'll ever meet in your entire life. He understood that and took that on, and he became a leader of this team. He may not have played as much as he would like, but everybody in this room will listen to what Josue says when he says it. He helped us out on special teams. He spot played for us on defense. And like I said, he's just an all-around good guy. There's a lot of guys in this room that I'm excited to watch and hopefully get to play college football at the next level. But I'm more excited to see what he does off the football field. It's going to be pretty good. And our other senior linebacker is Mauricio Quintero. Mauricio will get his feelings hurt if I say Brock played injured and don't say that he did too, so I have to throw that in there for him. Unbelievable what this kid did, his turnaround from his track record the past few years, his attitude, the way he played, his dedication. You go down the list, he checked off every one of them, a full 180 from where he's been in the past. Ended up being the second leading tackler on our defense. Changed positions due to injury, just had surgery again recently. And like I said, you can't say enough about what he did from where he came from to where he was now. Don't think he ever missed. He was there in the weight room every single day. And if you know Mauricio over the past couple of years and how he's kind of been with us, that's astronomical for him. All right, he's another one. He's one of the guys in this room that I hope he gets a chance to play at the next level, because I would love to see him watch him keep on playing. All right, and that is our inside linebackers.
Anybody need to stand up and stretch before we get going? I'm going to said we're going to do this short. Everybody's got long notes. This is all I've got. I'd like to introduce the defensive line. At one time, we were down to 6 players. This was a very physical region. I was talking to a good friend of mine yesterday, and he'd coached on the college level and he coached on the high school level. And he said, one of the things that he said, I can't get over, he said, how big these guys have gotten. And I said, you're not telling us anything. I said, when we started watching film with the people that we were playing this year, we'd look at their offensive line. I said, well, those guys don't look too big. And then we started looking at their weights in the program. 275, 280, 310, 315. They didn't look that big because they were all the same size. So there was a big size difference. But I showed my age, and I thought I was doing good. I said, guys, we've got to have that Tom Petty attitude. We won't back down. And they all looked at me like, who are you talking about? So the age discrepancy is catching up on me. We had one 9th grader that played this year, and he's not here today, Manny Quintero. Manny had a big body, and we got down to a situation where we had to use him some. And I hope Manny gets his grades taken care of, and he'll be with us next year. But he's a wide body, and we can use him. And I'm going to go by grades. David Brock. These are my 10th graders. David probably improved as much as anybody out there. He's learning the game. He's very coachable. Nobody's ever going to accuse David of being fast. But David is always around the football. Had a good year on JV, and get a little bit stronger this year and have an opportunity to compete. Adrian Hernandez. Adrian probably wanted to play more than any kid that I've ever been around. He had some knee issues. Job, Adrian. He had some knee issues that were lingering from last year, and it really slowed him down. But he had surgery in the middle of the season and came back. And I said, he's got a great attitude and got a lot of want to. So I'm excited to see what happens in off season. Did Raul show up? Raul Ortega was another 10th grader in our group, played JV. John Ridley is not here tonight. John's watching. I'm going to tell you one story about John. John was always good to ask questions. So he comes off the field one game and he says, Coach, he said, what do you do when you get stiff-armed by the quarterback? I said, 1, you hope nobody saw it. And 2, don't tell anybody. John got a lot of playing time this year as a 10th grader. And I told the other coaches before we got started, John was not in what I consider the playing rotation to begin with. But I said, he'll play before it's over with. And John got a lot of reps and got better as the year went on. So I'm excited about John coming back. And then is Christian Vargas here? Bull didn't make it tonight? Okay, all right. Those are my 10th graders, okay? Juniors, Dylan Center. Dylan got a lot of playing time this year. Dylan's got a mean streak that we didn't know about. We talked in teaching technique. Congratulations, Dylan. Everybody plays with hands now. And there was a couple of times that Dylan actually had his hands in the guy's throat, and I kind of liked it. So, again, looking forward to Dylan having a great year. Dylan's, again, he was beat up. And when you see here, we gave up probably 50 to 70 pounds a man every time we lined up against somebody. But again, they didn't back down. So I'm looking forward to Dylan being back. Late season acquisition, Hezekiah Duncan. Hezekiah started out on offense, and again, we were beat up pretty bad, and we were looking for somebody to come over. And I asked Hezekiah, I said, if you got a chance, could you come help us? And he said, Coach, I'd love to. As soon as we flip him over, he gets quarantined and he misses a week. And that's kind of the way the season went. We were constantly, who's going to be here this week? We don't know. Hezekiah played down the stretch. He's quick. Again, he's another one of those guys that got a mean streak, and that's what you look for on defense. So I'm looking forward to Hezekiah being with us all year next year. Like I said, I'm expecting good things out of him. Austin Fisher. Fish got voted the best hair of the bunch. We knew going into the season Austin does a great job deep snapping for us, so we knew that was taken care of. He had not played a lot of position. He missed some time the year before with the knee, and his freshman year also. But Austin really stepped up, and when he got some reps and started playing, did a great job for us. And again, I keep saying this, but these guys have got mean streaks in them that I've never seen before. So I'm excited about that. We just got to get Austin keep his mouth shut sometimes. But other than that, it's okay. Isaac Ilo Lopez. You have J-Lo, we have Ilo. Isaac, one of those guys that you love to have at practice. He gives you a great effort. You know what you're going to get. He is consistent. We got to put some weight on him. We got real excited in the year when we're down there working with the offensive linemen, and Isaac actually put a move and developed a move on pass rush. We'd never seen that before either. So everybody got excited. Again, we got to get some weight on him. Other than that, what you see is what you get. This is a great group, and again, look forward to having these guys back next year. Here's my juniors. All right, had 4 seniors this year. At some time or another, they all missed game time because of injuries, because of COVID quarantine, a lot of different things. But you never question the effort they were going to get. We've cried together, or I've cried with them. I've done a lot of laughing at them. I've done a lot of chewing on them. we're in mixed company, so I can't tell you this, but they probably felt like a lot of days they came home and they didn't have anything left in their britches because I chewed it off. But they're a good group, and I hate to see them go. David Garcia. We knew David. David did basic training this summer. Was gone with the military, and we didn't have any question about when David came back. He was going to be in shape. We weren't worried about that. We just didn't know exactly where he was going to fit. We knew he was going to play. And, David played outside linebacker, played inside linebacker, he played 2 or 3 different places. But we lined him up at defensive end and he never missed a beat. And, again, did an outstanding job for us as a senior leader. Coy Gray. Guy seems like Coy's been here forever. And I'll miss you. Coy and I have been round and round. He had an outstanding year. Again, it was one of those things where he was injured, missed the last game of the season. At one time, and somebody asked me about this the other day, we were playing at South Paulding. South Paulding averaged 275 on the offensive line. And Coy and Dylan both went out during the game, and those were our big guys. And, he played hard. He got a lot more coachable as the year went on. Like I said, it's been enjoyable having you around, baby. Okay. Cesar Bubba Muro. Now, you could tell by the reaction, everybody likes Bubba. I like Bubba. If you get a chance to talk to him, ask him to do his hillbilly accent for you, because he's got a good one. Bubba had toe injury, ankle injury, knee, back, elbow. What else? That's it? Okay. But through it all, he came. He and our trainer on first name basis. He worked through it, and there's a lot of times he didn't want to be out there, but he came anyway. And we sat down and we've had a lot of talks. I'm going to miss Bubba, and I think the rest of these guys are too. Last but not least, Tyson Neal. Tyson impressed everybody this summer with his work ethic. Coach Carpenter, he said, we're going to find a place for him to play. He said he's going to play somewhere, and he did. Now, Tyson looks like he's put on a little weight since football. But a lot of nights he lined up at defensive end, and the guy lined up across from him weighed 280, 290. Tyson soaking wet probably weighed 185. But we understood, or they understood, we had to be on the move. They played great technique. Tyson, once he figured out that guy wasn't going to eat him alive, after the first or second snap, he played very well for us. All these guys rotated, and I could tell you they played defensive end, they played defensive tackle, and they played everywhere. But they were a great group to work with. Again, had a lot of fun with them, and I'm going to miss this group probably as much as any group I've ever had. But this is our seniors.
May I assist you?
I'm the unofficial kicking coach too.
Jack's not here.
Jack Martinez is the kicking coach, but Jack couldn't be here today, so I'm filling in for Jack. JJ Rubeletto. Did I get that right, JJ? JJ's an athlete. Now, he keeps telling me he can catch it and he can throw it. I hadn't seen it yet, but he says he's an athlete. Hey. We knew he's at. Stay right here. We know he's ambidextrous because he kicked one ball with his left foot last year on a bad snap. He saved our bacon by being able to kick it left-footed. He's got an opportunity. Again, we've been very blessed over the years with kickers, and JJ's another one of those good ones. He's got an opportunity to do something next year. Punt and kick off, handle it all. So excited about having him back. Pepe Lara. Now, there's a lot of stories about Pepe. I don't think most of them are not true, I hope. Pepe can kick the ball. Again, we're very blessed. Pepe did most of the kicking in the JV games this year, but they both bring something to the table. And Pepe also tells me he can throw the ball, but I haven't seen him throw it yet. But we've got a lot of possibilities with athletic ability as our kickers. And, again, having two juniors coming back is a great thing. Our senior, Eber Calzada. Is that right? JJ and Pepe recruited Eber. They didn't want to be Pancho and Lefty, so they're now the three amigos. Yeah. These guys had a great time at practice. They're Coach Mayo's favorite people. Coach Mayo kept trying to get them to go kick the ball in the street and dodge cars. But they work really hard and they have a good time. And, again, Eber, we're so glad that you came out and stayed with us. And, again, you're welcome to come back and hang out with these guys. If they can't find a third kicker next year, you can come out and hang out with them. All right? These are our kickers.
Okay, I'm giving the Judge Prudent Leadership Award. Judge Prudent was a big part of our community and quarterback club and our school system and a leader in our community. This award's been given for a long time. Leadership is the action of leading a group of people or an organization. You can lead by action. You can lead by your talk. But if you do not show them the way that to do it, they're never going to listen to you when it comes time. And this young man, on and off the field, was a leader for us. He did everything in his power, offensively, defensively, special teams, to help this team. He never complained. Well, I'm not going to say that. He did complain some. We had to knock him off his high horse at times. But that's part of it. Every human being has that, especially me. I love this young man. He's going to be a phenomenal person in this world. He led our team with 109 tackles, had 3 interceptions, I believe. And as a safety, you're thinking, well, that's not very good if a safety has that many tackles. No, we had to stem him down to an outside backer position. Our defensive line and linebackers did pretty good. We were just able to put him in positions to make plays, what Coach Carpenter was. I'm very proud of him. He's going to get a chance to play football at the next level. This year's Judge Prudent Leadership Award goes to Parker Adams.
Golden Helmet Sportsmanship Award. When I think of sportsmanship, and again, this is my definition, that's somebody that's going to knock you down, help you up, and tell you, I'll be back the next play. Okay? But they're going to smile and pat you on the fanny as they do that. This year, the Golden Helmet Sportsmanship Award goes to David Garcia.
Everybody turn up here, please.
Today I have the pleasure of presenting the Urban Mitchell Team Spirit Award. This award goes. Today I have the pleasure of presenting the Urban Mitchell Team Spirit Award. This award goes to the individual who consistently puts his team before he puts himself. There's no doubt that this player had the desires to have more playing time on the field. But regardless, he knew his role and he fulfilled it to the fullest. The Urban Mitchell Team Spirit Award goes to Dominique Simpson.
The Charter Media Chuck Harris Positive Influence Award. Again, for somebody that's got a positive influence, you look for somebody that's got a great attitude, somebody that's got a tremendous work ethic, somebody that comes early, stays late. This young man came early and he stayed late every day. I had to run him out of the dressing room a lot of times. Not a lot of times, just about every night. And on the way out, coach, is there anything I can do? Can I help you do this? Can I help you do that? He's going to be successful in whatever endeavor he takes. He's going to be defending our country before long. David Garcia.
As I reflect over giving this award out, it's such a bittersweet moment for me because I did get the opportunity to honor our defensive most valuable player, but he usually means. As I reflect over giving this award out, it's such a bittersweet moment for me because I do get the opportunity to honor our defensive most valuable player, but it usually means that their tenure with us is over. And tonight's recipient will certainly represent all of the great defensive players that we've had over the years. When this player was a sophomore, we made the commitment to him to teach him in how to lead the defense. He was going to be the guy that was going to drive this ship. We spent many nights at practice standing by him, talking about why we would want to run a certain thing at a certain time or why we want to make this call or that call. At first, he was a little nervous about it, but over time, he became pretty good. We often threw him to the wolves. We purposely didn't make a call, and we forced him to make a decision and to take ownership. And that, by the time he became a senior, he was pretty good at it. He had earned the right to make the call as he see fit. I couldn't be more proud of this young man for the work that he's put in over the years, and I'm certainly going to miss him. Tonight's defensive most valuable player goes to Parker Adams. Parker, we're going to miss you.
When it comes to a power player, there's no one that would strike fear in most of that of Maurice Howard. He fits the bill. Maurice had tremendous speed, his size. He could lift the house if you come watch him in the weight room. He had to miss a couple games or two due to COVID and had only produced at 6.3 a carry. Not only that, he was able to catch the balls out of the backfield. At the East Paulding game, during pregame, we were out there, and I used to stand about the 45 to kind of watch the opponent. And one of their kickers kicked the ball, and their returner missed it. Happened to be their safety. And he came up to, he goes, I threw him back the ball, tossed the ball back to him, and said, "Thanks, Coach." He goes, "By the way, number one gets loose, I ain't going to hit him." And that was a fear that Maurice struck in those people. He's going to have an opportunity to play at the next level. Your offensive MVP this year is Maurice Howard. Captains.
Leadership, ability, character, being coachable, and trustworthy are all important qualities that a coach looks for in a player. It's easy for us to pick out which of these kids have these attributes and which do not. However, when a captain is selected for a team, coaches are not involved. The players determine who they want to be their leader. The players see what we do not see. They know when the lights are off and the eyes of the staff are not on them how someone acts. They know the real athlete, student, friend, and teammate. When the ballots were cast this past year, the following 3 players were selected, and the voting verified what has already been said. In other years where the votes were evenly split, this year was a little bit different, and it's the first time this has happened. We had a 3-way tie for our team captains. Our first captain led in the weight room with incredible hard work. This hard work allowed him to be a physical runner that looked for contact whenever he could find it. His raw strength is a reminder that strength is never a weakness and weakness is never a strength. The second captain was and is defined by his desire to simply compete. He would go ones versus ones every day for 2 hours if we let him. His ability to go after 50-50 balls and continually make unreal catches is what makes him special. The third captain is defined by his continuous effort. No matter the length of practice or game, he ran and moved at 100% from play 1 to play 100. His physical ability to push through anything thrown at him was truly impressive to see. Your offensive captains this year are Maurice Howard, Corinne Page, and Luke Blanchard.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Steve.
All right, and I have the opportunity to recognize our defensive captains this year. Coach Cole pretty much hit it off what he said. All 3 of these guys have been talked about for this afternoon. Being a captain is quite an honor. What does it mean to be a captain? It's being responsible, setting a good example, and pulling your team together, and maintaining control in the most pressurized situations. All 3 of these guys do that on and off the field every single day. Defensively, all 3 of them were in the top 5 in tackling. They led in the team in either sacks or interceptions. They're leaders off the field. They're leaders on the field. Sometimes that's quietly. Sometimes it's by what they do. Our defensive captains this year, same as offense. We had a 3-way tie. It's Parker Adams, A.J. Hernandez, and Caleb Hernandez.
Again, we've been very blessed over the years with special teams players, especially kickers. And again, this young man's got a big future ahead of him. Expecting great things out of him. He has a great work ethic. If we could just get him to go get the balls after he kicks them over the fence, he'll be okay. Our special team player this year is J.J. Riboletto.
Two balls that when they were working on the baseball field that they found. $7 each? Yeah.
If everybody turn up here, please.
Sometimes when you get an opportunity to present awards, you have the chance to tell stories that really do a good job of linking the kid to the award, or even to show the kid's character. And this is probably one of my favorite stories of all time. We reported to practice in August. We've had to practice pretty much the whole month, and then we were getting ready to play Calhoun. This young man had worked his brains out and really illustrated how important it was going to be for him to start. This student had never started before in a varsity game, and this would have been a big deal. But as I was sitting in Coach Thompson's office that day, getting ready to play the game, the student approached me and said, "Coach, are we going to start the seniors tonight?" And I said, "No." I said, "We've got to put ourselves in a position to win this game as quickly as possible." And he looked back at me and said, "Coach, are you sure we're not going to start the seniors tonight?" And it just dawned on me right then that I asked him the question. I said, "Well, you want your brother to start?" He said, "Yeah, Coach, I do." And so for a kid to give up the opportunity to start for the first time in his career, to give that opportunity up to let his senior brother start, it's certainly going to be his biggest game. I can't think of a man that's more deserving of the Best Teammate Award than Bryson Benton. Congratulations, Bryson.
All right, I'll be giving out the Dr. Conrad Easley Comeback Award. This award is given to someone who has shown perseverance in overcoming adversity. The player that won this award has overcome adversity on and off the field in his home life, surgeries, injury, you name it, he's overcome it. He overcome an injury that we thought honestly may have kept him off the field and his career with us would have been over. I'm glad it wasn't, because like I said earlier when I talked about him, his turnaround from where he's been the past 2 years to right now made this season worth it for me. He became a critical part of our defense. Like I said earlier, he was tied for sacks and tackles despite being banged up all year, and he's probably more dedicated than I've seen him in the 4 years that I've been at Dalton. And I hope, hopefully, like I said earlier, he had another surgery just recently, and I hope I get to see him come back from that one also and play at the next level. The recipient of the Dr. Conrad Easley Comeback Award is Mauricio Quintero.
That concludes the coaches portion of the game in 2 hours and 10 minutes. Not that we were counting. I believe now the seniors have their presentations. And if you need to take a break, it'd be a good time to do so.
You guys did a great job. We done in time. What's that? So that was it, so they should play that. Yes. Probably waiting on everybody. Okay, let's go, okay?
Come up here. Hello. I don't know if y'all can hear me. How long did I talk? All right, I don't know how many people are still in the bathroom or doing anything, but I play defense, but I got the pleasure to talk about Coach Marlowe along with some other coaches. Coach Marlowe, to me, was formerly known as Ethan because he's my next-door neighbor. And he's been not only a neighbor to me, but like a brother. Him and his older sister, Madison Marlowe, have babysitted me and my brother since we were like 4. And I have a picture of me and Coach Marlowe, and it's when he's playing football here. And, you know, he's been kind of like an older brother to me, and then getting to see him fulfill his dream at coming back to Dalton and coaching here alongside of these coaches. It's fun to see, and he does a great job doing what he's told to do, as in being a running backs coach when he played D-line at Dalton. He's somebody that's really smart when it comes to defense, and I know he is with offense, but he was actually at my house maybe 3 days ago, showing me a PowerPoint that he made of a Dalton defense PowerPoint. And I'm pretty sure he's going to show it to the coaches to hopefully get recruited into the defensive side of the ball because no offense to the offensive, but that's where it's at. Sorry, Coach. But Coach Marlowe, he's a dear friend of mine, and I had to get used to calling him Coach Marlowe instead of Ethan, like I said. But I'm glad he's here at Dalton where he needs to be, and I just want to thank him for everything he's done for us, Coach Marlowe.
I had Coach Mayo. He was my offensive line coach for 4 years. I'd first like to start off with a quote from Winston Churchill. "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." This quote hit home for me about you. You not only were my coach, but you're also a mentor and a guide in mine and all the line's lives. You not only taught us about football, you taught us about life, being a leader in our lives, our communities, our homes, and this team. I was with you and this coaching staff longer than I was with my parents and my brothers during the season and off the season. Like what Coach Thompson says, I think everything happens for a reason. I believe in this statement. I believe that this year happened for a reason, not only for its football season, but in our lives outside of football. No, I don't know what is going to happen the next year, but what Coach Mayo and this coaching staff has taught us is don't plan for tomorrow, but put everything you got into today so you're ready for tomorrow. Thank you, Coach Mayo, and for all the lessons. And I'll never be able to forget football season because of you. You're the few people that made me love it, understand it as a player, and apply it to everyday life. Thank you to Coach Mayo and everything you did for me. I would also like to take this time to thank the Souther family and the Woods family for everything they did for me and everything I needed. Also like to thank Coach Land for coaching me and leading me.
I got the pleasure to talk about Coach Major, who isn't here. But if he was here, I'd like to thank him because he really took me in this year under his wing, and he taught me a lot. I would stay after practices with him, and he would teach me some specific stuff. But he was, not to call any of y'all old, but he was one of the youngest coaches here, if not the youngest, and he really connected with us, and yeah, he was a great coach, and I'm gonna miss him. So.
I was given the honor of presenting Coach Martinez and Coach Johnson over there. Coach Martinez, players and coaches know that there was never a dull moment with you. Whether it's Coach Johnson and you or calling me your son, or Fuller wrestling you to the ground. You always seem to laugh with us, but most of the time we're honestly laughing at you. You are more than the offensive coordinator. You are a father figure to everyone in the offensive skill group. I love you, and I thank you for everything you have done since I've moved to Dalton. Now, Coach Johnson, Papa Bear. I've had the displeasure of having him as two sport coaches, baseball and football. So I see him in two sports. For whatever reason, he always calls me his son. The worst name I've ever been called. His work goes unnoticed on the freshman team, but freshmen, y'all listen to whatever he says. He's a great coach, a great man, and you just need to listen to him because he's a really, really good man and a wise man. Coach Johnson.
I had the privilege to talk about Coach Penny. I just want to say thank you, Coach Penny, for everything you've done for us. You're not only a coach to us, but a mentor. You always had a positive attitude and pushed us to do better, not just on the field, but in the classroom as well. You never gave up on us. You believed in us. Some days I wanted to quit, but you never let me. You pushed me and you encouraged me, and I thank you for that. Thank you for making football not just about the game, but about family. This will always be my family, and I know I can always count on you. Thank you, Coach Penny.
Alright, I got Mr. Wills, but before I get into that, one, Coach Land, I know you watching. I love you. I'm gonna miss you. And I just want to thank every coach because what they poured into all of us made me better. They might not know it because I'm quiet, but they made me a better person. But on to Mr. Wills, man, from freshman year, I know you remember whenever I got in trouble for taking your water out your fridge. And to now, shoot, I really look at you as like the homie. I could talk to you like you my brother or something, even though they might think that's kind of weird. But anyways, you helped me be a better player by filming games and stuff. I looked at a lot of film of other teams and of me, my brother, and other players to help me fix the little stuff and see what I needed to do better. So I just thank you.
Which one is it? This one? I got the privilege to talk about Coach Carpenter. First off, I want to say is thank you for everything you've done for me, for all of us as a team. Thank you for believing in me and knowing that I can play that position. You've made all of us better in every way. And I appreciate that you never gave up on us, even when we knew we wouldn't be able to make it to the playoffs. I know that you still gave it your best, and I thank you for that. And you've inspired me to be a better player on and off the field, and you've made me a better player. Thank you. I love you, Coach.
I'm also going to talk about Coach Carpenter. going to try and keep it shorter because I could talk about this guy all day. But Coach Carpenter is one of those guys where, like, sometimes if you just sit back and you look at what he's doing and you watch at what he's done, and it blows your mind at how smart he is. My sophomore year, him and Coach Thompson took me in from freshman quarterback, and they're like, hey, come play free safety. And I was like okay, sure, fine, that works. And he told me, don't worry about it, you'll do great, just do what I tell you to do. And so, I mean, my sophomore year, Coach Carpenter would say, run this, run that, and if I did it, I'd make a play or I'd get a pick. Like, if you just listen to exactly what he'd say, then you'd make a play and you'd be there in the perfect spot. I always tell this story if I've talked to any of y'all, Coach Carpenter, but it's my junior year. Going into junior year, we're playing 7-on-7 tournament at UTC, and there was a rain delay, and Coach Carpenter decides to, like, sit down and catch a few Z's, and he's, like, asleep with a whiteboard on his lap. And I look at one of my players, I think it was Mauricio, my teammates, and he was like, man, he's out, isn't he? And I was like, put my hand in front of his face, and he was dead asleep. He was not waking up. But I was like, he's not sleeping, man. He's scheming. He's thinking. And he was like, no, he's not. No, he's not. And then all of a sudden, he just wakes up. He goes, Parker, Mal, Mauricio, come here. And he starts drawing up a coverage on the whiteboard, like out of his sleep, dreaming of coverages. And we run that coverage the next game, and I get a pick off of it. And he's just one of those guys where he's gifted when it comes to just thinking of stuff, and he's somebody that I looked up to and I tried to be like when it comes to scheming people. And I try and get Coach Thompson on our level of smarts, which he's there, but we got to draw it out for him. And but he's somebody that's really dear to me, and I love Coach Carpenter with all my heart. And I would love to come back and coach with him or coach him and tell him what I got in store. But I love Coach Carpenter, and I know you're watching. I love you, Coach.
Good evening. Before I start, I just want to thank all the coaches for helping me throughout the years. You know, the passing of my mother was pretty hard, and y'all had my back. So did the players and the families out there. I'd like to thank you. And, you know, it was hard, but with all the love and support that I had, I saw that I had a real family, and I liked it. So, all right, now, my coach that I'm talking about is Coach Patrick. In 8th grade, you know, it was a shaky start, you know, shaky season for everybody, but I think that he made it worthwhile, and, you know, it was fun. And then whenever he came up here with us, it's like he followed us, and, you know, he made it worthwhile, and I liked it. I personally liked it on a you know, whole different level. I got all his jokes and stuff, you know. We'd be talking on the sidelines about the JV games, and then either I was on the stands talking to him or I was actually on the sidelines out there with him, and we just conversate, and whether he was mad or happy, you know, it was just a mutual connection, and I liked it.
The person I'm talking about is Coach Cole, and I ain't really write nothing too special about him because I wasn't prepared. And I just want to say thank you for not kicking me off the team. You know, I'd always get in trouble a lot, so I just want to say thank you. And I'm gonna miss the times we were talking about soccer and you know, Mexican players and all that, and also speaking Spanish and like just saying get agua and stuff like that. So that's all I gotta say. So thanks, Coach Cole, for being here, and yeah, that's all I got.
To start off, I'd like to thank each and every, but I would like to give a special. If I ever needed something, he would be the man to call. Thank you, Coach Bennett, for everything and always counting on me and always bringing out the best in me.
there aren't enough words to explain how appreciative I am of this Catamount family, of everything that you guys do for us, and how great this program is. Something that Coach Land would always say that I always stuck with me is that for him, every single time he'd have someone come back to him and tell him that what he taught them prepared them for life and made them a better father, that was a state championship for him. And it's people like Coach Bennett that really exemplify the passion that this program has. He doesn't have to be here. This has been a dangerous year with coronavirus, and that's added danger and all these things, and he's still here. And he's so passionate. He's a man that I really look up to and that I'm really thankful for.
I got a little something to say too. Coach Jim Bennett. There was this one time going into junior year, in the summer we were working out, and he comes up to me, he goes, "Cesar, I think I got a nickname for you." And I'm like laying down doing my crunches, and I'm like, "What is it, Coach?" He says, "Bubba." And I'm like, "Well, Bubba it is." A week later, he finds out I'm working at Sonic, and I make milkshakes there, so he added milkshake to the name. So I became Bubba Milkshake. Coach Bennett is like the father I never had, as well as all my other coaches. I've laughed with him and I cried with him, and I appreciate you, Coach. I love you.
I'm here to talk about Coach Nava. His work with the receivers, it does not go unnoticed. Ever since I was a little freshman, he's been helping me out with my cuts, my routes, everything. In middle school, freshmen, they know that he throws the hardest passes that you've ever caught. It don't matter if you're 5 yards away, he will throw them as hard as he possibly can. You know, sophomore, I learned that out the hard way. First varsity game, he threw one and doinked me right off the head. But we love you, Coach, and what you do does not go unappreciated.
I somehow got nominated to talk about everybody, but I'm here to talk about Coach Long. I'm no quarterback, but I had to act like it. Well, kind of. But I'm the only senior that even thought about playing quarterback. I got thrown into it my junior year after Landon got hurt and then Ashton, and then I got the ability to work with Coach Long. And him alongside Coach Carpenter, he's up there in the genius category. He's an extremely knowledgeable guy. He knows how to break down the defense just as well as I know how to break down the offense. But Coach Long's an extremely positive person, and he just brings an extreme amount of energy to practice. Like, from the moment he started here with us, he brought a different type of energy to practice that, like, just some people didn't have. There's not much I can say about him. Well, there's a lot I can say, but I love the guy. He's smart. I'm excited to see his son, Ethan Long, play. He's going to be a monster. Y'all heard it here first. He's going to be good. But he was one of the offensive coaches that I really enjoyed, along with the other ones. Don't worry, Coach Martinez. Coach Long sometimes thought I knew more than I did, which I guess I'll take it as a compliment, but he'd call a play, and I'd get ready to run the play, and I'd just say, "Coach, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know the play." And he's like, "It's just Colorado. Come on, you know how to run Colorado." And I think he just forget that he never taught me Colorado. And I was like, I have no clue what that is, like, at all. But he's a smart guy. He's fun to be around. He brings a lot of energy, and I love him. He's also my sports agent at the moment. aside from my dad. They're my sports agents and recruiting, getting to college ball. So I appreciate that too. Come back. Go ahead, take it.
All right, this is about my man, Coach Thompson. So, man, Coach Thompson is so cool. He like, I don't know, Coach Thompson got swag, like, for real. Man, we love Coach Thompson, and he the only coach that I really go to if I have a problem or like feelings, and he really a 10 o'clock friend. He done proved it. Picked me up a couple times late at night when I was in something. I'm sorry, Dad. Don't get me in trouble, but but yeah, you just real. Like, I don't even have to say much. You understand me, and I appreciate what you done for me and my brother these past 4 years.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. When I first got here, freshman year, I was terrified of Coach Thompson because, you know, I walked in. I think it was the first day. I walked in. I saw all the varsity players. I looked over. I saw Coach Thompson. He was screaming at all of them. He had this look on his face, so I was really scared. But I've grown to get closer to Coach Thompson these 4 years at Dalton, and I love you, Coach. I'm gonna miss you.
Coach Thompson, a.k.a. Coach T, a.k.a. Scotty Too Hottie. That's the boy. I actually got S2H and a lightning bolt on my arm. All the defensive players did. Thought about getting a tat of it. Decided it was a bad idea. Dad talked me out of that one. No, I'm just kidding. But Coach Thompson is one of those guys that you have to get on his good side. Because if you aren't, you're not going to – well, you'll like him, but it's just not going to be fun. 4 years is not going to be fun. You're around him entirely too much to not be on his good side. I remember, like I said, with Coach Carpenter, I was playing freshman QB, and he brought me over and he told me, he said, you're going to be the free safety, which there was a senior above me at the time, but he said, you're going to be my free safety. I don't know when, but you're going to be my free safety. And that senior got hurt. His first game of the season, sophomore year, I went in, I got a pick, and that was all she wrote. Coach Thompson has been an amazing person to me. I'm going to try and limit this, but it's going to be hard. He's one of those guys where he just loves you, and he loves on you, and he makes it known. I mean, every day after practice, I love you guys. That's one thing he always says. Coach Thompson is an abundance of a person. He's angry, he's happy, he's crazy. When he gets his Tiger's blood, he's even more crazy. You don't want to see him on Tiger's blood. That's another story. He don't need caffeine. Coach Thompson on Friday nights is the hype man. You can tell how it impacts us players whenever he's not there being our hype man. Every time he asks for a 2 claps into Ric Flair, it's like, okay, it's game day. It's time to get ready. But I love this guy more than any other coach. I love all of y'all, but Coach Thompson he's my guy, and I can't stand not being around him next year. And it really sucks to think that I'm not going to be around him. But I just want him to know that I love him. I'm going to miss him dearly. I think that's everybody.
Martinez, jackets.
Yeah, I got a list. Oh, 1 second. All right, players, before you leave, as you exit, you may have not known this or not, you will leave your jackets and ties. We will check you off. And just like helmets, you don't want me to come find you, okay? Because especially seniors, you will not graduate. We'll put it on IC. You owe me for your jacket, right? I hate to end that on a bad note, but here's our highlights.
Okay, with that, we're going to have the 2020 highlights up here for those that want to stay and watch that. You're all welcome to. I think we have extra cake. There's more water. You're welcome to that as well. That adjourns the 2020 Quarterback Club football banquet. Thank you.
you.